Good day, folks. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Game of Life Star Wars A Jedi's Path. This game came out from Hasbro in 2002, and it is for 2 to 4 players. Now, the object of this game is that you are going to try to become the Jedi or the Sith Lord that has the most amount of skill. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be moving around the board, spinning the famous spinner, and making decisions as to which path that you want to take, because you can go the good side with the Jedi, or you can go the dark side with the Sith Lord, or a combination of both. So let's show you this game. Okay, folks, we're going to go ahead and start with the components first. We will go ahead and start with the skills that you're going to be earning throughout this game, and there's 4 different ones. You've got one for fighting, one for intuition, one for logic, and one for energy. Now, throughout the game, you're going to be earning these in a variety of different ways, and in some cases, you'll actually be able to choose the skills you need. Other times, you'll be winning the skill depending on what space you land on or what cards you draw, etc. So here is the game board. Of course, you're going to have the wheel that you're going to spin, and then you'll have one of 4 Padawans that you're going to get to choose from, and you'll place it here on this space. Now, in the very beginning, you're going to choose one of the 3 clans to go down, and they're basically just paths. So you've got a real short path to get to this Jedi trial, which I'll talk about in a minute. You've got a medium path, and then you have the long path. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to end up starting with 2 skill tiles, so you get to pick any 2 that you want, and when you'll spin the wheel, and then you'll simply go down the path that you chose. So here's some of the spaces. Here's one that says gain 1 intuition. You would gain an intuition skill. Here's a lesson, so that will allow you to draw a lesson card. Gain 1 fighting. Here's one that says gain 2 skills. Now, you're going to have to stop on any spaces that are red. So if you go down this space, you're definitely going to gain 2 skills easily. Now, when you get to this is the Jedi trial, and for this space, you have to be able to beat this or tie it. So what will happen is, in this particular one, you will go ahead and add all the skill tiles that you have. So let's just say you happen to have 4 skill tiles, and that would be all the skills that you have. You would then go ahead and spin the wheel. Let's say I spun and I got a 5. All of them have to equal 8 or higher. Now, if I'm able to do that, I will be able to continue on. If I'm not able to do that, then I'm going to have to go back to start. So this is a quicker path, but it's a lot harder to pass this Jedi trial. You really need to get a high number on the wheel. This is pretty much a guarantee, and this one, it's 50-50 basically. So that's the first thing that's going to happen. So let's talk about some of the spaces that are here on the board. There are some spaces that you will gain skills and lose skills. There's a bunch of spaces on here that say lessons, and anytime you land on that, you're going to pick up one of these lessons cards, and I'll just show you what they are. Here's one. It says practice with training lightsabers to learn the flow of the weapon. It says spin and add to your fighting. If the total is 5 or higher, gain a skill, which basically means that you'll spin the wheel, and whatever number you get, you'll add to the amount of fighting skills that you have. So if you had 2 fighting tokens, you would simply add that to the wheel, and if you were able to get the total of this or more, you would gain a skill. Here's another card. This is for logic, and this basically will give you a little description, and it says spin and add to your logic. If the total is 8 or higher, gain a skill. And it's basically the same thing. You'll just simply add up the number of logic you have, and then whatever you spin on the wheel. And there's a whole bunch of these different ones here. I'll just kind of flip through. Here's one that you can earn an energy with. Here's one that you can earn another logic. And there's different numbers too, like fighting 6, energy 8, intuition 6, etc. Now, if you don't end up spinning the number required to earn the card, you're not going to lose anything. There's a space here that says Jedi Challenge, and it'll basically say fighting or intuition will have one of the skills, or it will say any. Essentially what happens here is you're going to get to choose one other player to have a duel with, and depending on what the skill is, this would be fighting, you would be challenging them for the best fighting skill. So what would happen in this case is however many fighting skills you had and however many your challenger had, he would go ahead and add that to the spin of the wheel. So let's just say, for example, I had 2 of the fighting ones, and I spun the wheel, and I spun a 4. This would give me 6. Let's say my opponent had 3, and he spun a 1, so that would give him 4. So in this case, I will have won the challenge. Now, what will happen is if I win, I will win a skill tile. If we tie, both of us will get a skill tile. And if I end up losing, nothing will happen, but I just won't end up gaining a skill tile. Of course, you have the spaces here that say mission. Now, if you land on a mission space, you'll draw this, and this is just missions that Jedi will go on to. And these are more of a challenge card. So, again, it'll tell you intuition 9, and then you'll have you add your intuition. It'll tell you what the mission is. And the thing you have to be careful of is if you don't end up getting this number or higher, you're going to lose a skill. Otherwise, if you are, you will gain the skills necessary. Here's another one. It just gives a little description and tells you what you need to get and what skill you're shooting for. And here's one more, and there's a whole bunch of these. Right here is the Jedi Master red space. Once you land on the Jedi Master space, you'll just simply draw one of these cards. Anytime you draw one of these, and you're only going to draw one, there are going to be specific things that you're going to get. The first thing is going to tell you who's going to be your trainer, and this card says Qui-Gon Jinn, and it just says a little description here, and it'll tell you to add 2 to your logic and 2 to your fighting, so you would automatically gain those. Here's another one. This one says add 5 to your fighting. Another one, add 2 to your energy and 2 to your fighting. And there's quite a lot of these things. You got Yoda here, and just a bunch of different ones that you will be able to get different tiles for. Now, if you end up having 3 or more dark side tiles by the time you reach the end, you're going to lose your Jedi Master, and you're also going to have to pay back whatever he gave you. Right here is the build lightsaber space. These are basically the lightsabers you're going to build whenever you land on the build the lightsaber space. And the way it works is you're either going to pay 1 each of the skills that you have. So 1 fighting, 1 intuition, 1 logic, and 1 energy. Or you can pay 3 of 1, so you could pay 3 intuition, 3 logic, etc. Now, if you can't pay for this, you'll just simply draw a card. But let me show you these cards. They each have different looking handles here, and they have like a little description here, and then it will simply tell you what you will get. So this will add 3 to your fighting. This will add 2 to your logic, 2 to your fighting, and 2 to your energy, and just a whole bunch of different things. But I love how they have like the different lightsaber handles here. That's really cool. Now, there are also some spaces on here, especially near the end, where you'll be able to trade tiles. So, for example, if you had like 7 logic and you wanted to trade them out for, say, 3 intuition, you could very well do that. And that will basically help you in certain sections of the game, especially this when you have all these different tests that you're going to be doing. Now here is the dark path. Now as you'll see, these are really shortcuts, and here's some of the ones here. This will allow you to steal 2 skills from another player. You can gain 2 skills. You'll get 3 skills here. A big advantage to going down this way, but of course there is the caveat that you're going to have to end up getting a dark side tile. The longer you are in this path, for every turn that you're there, you're going to have to draw a dark side tile. And you got to be careful, because if by the end of the game you have 3 or more of these, you're going to lose your Jedi Master. And you'll end up becoming a Sith Lord. So you'll actually get to choose whether you want to stay a Jedi or go to the dark side and stay there. Or if you want to kind of do both and hope that you end up with less than 3 tiles. So you've got some choices that you can do. Now there are also spaces here in the board called Redemption. If you end up landing on this is going to give you an opportunity to lose one of your dark side tiles. All you would have to do is, let's just say I happen to have 3 dark side tiles. What this means is I'll have to spin a 4 or higher in order to get rid of one of them. So let's just say I've spun a 6, so this would allow me to go ahead and dump out one of my dark side tiles. Unfortunately, if I am unable to spin a higher number than what I have in dark side tiles, I'm going to lose a skill. Now, whenever you get over to this space right over here, this is close to where the Jedi Council is, you're going to do this. If you have 2 or less dark Sith tiles in your possession, you're going to go this way. If you have 3 or more dark side tiles, you're going to go this way. Essentially, this means that you are too corrupted and you're basically going to be in the Sith Lord section. So whenever you get over here, you're going to go ahead and stop at this space, and if you happen to have 14 logic in your possession, you'll get the reward listed here. Then you'll go over here. If you're able to get 14 intuition, you'll get 3 skills for that. And then and when you get to the final trial, if you happen to have any skill and energy equaling 20, and anybody that is able to get to the final trial, up to 3 players, they're going to get something. Now, if I happen to not pass the final trial, I would just simply go over here and wait. But the first person that passed the final trial, they would get 6 skills. The second one would get 3. The third one would get 1. Now, this is a little bit different. The first player who gets over here in the Sith side will take 4 of any 1 skill, and the later players will get nothing. So only the first player will only receive things here. Everybody else will not. But with the Jedi Knight, the first 3 people will get something. Now, the interesting thing is that once everybody has gotten over here, and there is a Jedi Knight and a Sith Lord, the person that has the most amount of skill tiles on the Jedi side and the Sith Lord are going to wage a final battle. And the way it works is the Sith Lord is going to choose 3 different skills to battle the Jedi with, and he's going to go ahead and choose them. So let's just say the Sith chose logic and then intuition and then fighting. So what would happen is the Jedis and the Sith would go ahead and add up whatever tiles that they had. Say they would battle for logic, for example. So let's just say the Sith Lord had 3 logic and the Jedi had 2 logic. The Sith would spin. He got 8. 3 is 11. Then the Jedi would go ahead and spin, and he ended up getting a 9 and a 2, which is an 11. Now, if there's a tie, you will go ahead and spin again. But essentially what happens is after the battle for one of the skills is over, they're going to go on to the next skill and do the exact same thing with the wheel. And the Sith is going to win if he is able to win all 3 of the challenges, but the Jedi Knight is going to win if he is able to win one of the challenges out of the 3. And the winner of the game is going to be decided one of 2 ways. If everybody is either a Jedi or a Sith Lord, the person who has the most amount of tiles is going to win. If it's between a Jedi and a Sith Lord, whoever ends up winning the final battles is going to win the game. Now check this out. There's actually a section here in the instructions where they give like a personality profile of all the different types of Jedis. And this is really cool. I'll just show you one. Like, for example, if you end with mostly logic and then intuition, this is going to be the Jedi's personality. Logic in the fighting, it'll be this. And they went through every single one of the possible combinations, just like a personality test. And here's the other side. I'll go ahead and show you. Really, really cool. But anyway, guys, that is the Game of Life Star Wars: A Jedi's Path. So my final thoughts on the Game of Life Star Wars: A Jedi's Path. Well, this is a game that my friend Brittany brought over on our game night, and she was really excited to find this. This was another one that she found for like $1 or so, and is in really good shape when we got it. And I believe this game was taken off of a book of the same name, A Jedi's Path. And what that is that's a manual of sorts on training how to become a Jedi. And it's fiction, obviously, but they have different excerpts from what Jedi Masters have written in their manuals or in their diaries, and they have pictures and things of that nature. Really cool idea. So I think the game is based off of this. And I have to say, this is probably the coolest version of Life that I've ever seen. The way they did the theme with this game is incredible. I mean, with all the different things that you can do, with the different paths that you can take, with the Sith path, with the Jedi path, with the mission cards, the lightsaber building and everything. You just look at the details of the cards, even with the different lightsabers that you can build and what you can get from them. They really did a good job. Probably one of the most detailed games on Star Wars that I have personally seen, for a family game especially. Easy game to learn. I like the fact that you have different decisions that you can make as far as what path you want to take. I know when I played this game with my wife, she was ahead of me, and so what I decided to do is I decided to take the dark path, and I was stealing tiles from her and gaining all these. It kind of felt like I was cheating in a way, but I loved it. And I ended up landing on the redemption spaces too, so I was able to get rid of some of those dark tiles. And you can choose whether you want to be a Sith Lord. If you want to go all Sith, you can do that. If you want to go all Jedi, you can do that. If you want to do a combination and hope that you don't have those 3 tiles, or maybe you want to be able to go all out. To do the easy way. There's some decision making that goes on in this game, and this game is really well balanced too. If you're getting behind, you can take a dark path if you want to do that, and gain some things. Of course, by going on the Sith path, you're going to end up losing some things later on. So there's advantages and disadvantages in this game. I really like this version of Life a lot. I've played some other versions, and I have to say this one is definitely a keeper if you are a fan of the Game of Life, and especially if you are a fan of Star Wars. Now, this game probably goes for about $25 or so on eBay, but I would definitely recommend it if you're a Star Wars fan and you're into family games. Obviously, this is not a game that requires a lot of skill. You just have some light decision-making that you want to do, but this is a fun version. I really like it a lot. I love being able to steal tiles, and then the battling of the Jedis and all those things. They did a really good job as far as the theme and everything goes, and I love the fact that they put these personality profiles there on the end. What game does that? I've never seen a game that has ever done that. And they're really detailed, and it's great. I really love the way they did this game. So if you're a fan of this game, I would definitely recommend this. Most detailed game I've ever seen as far as a life game goes, especially from a movie. But yeah, really cool game. So guys, that is my review of the game of life, Star Wars: A Jedi's Path. We'll see you later. Keep on gaming.